joining us from the US. Welcome to Resilience ImpACT365, a groundbreaking platform by the Paris Center, connecting investors and key figures in the local and global community with Israeli startups impacted by the war. I'm thrilled to share that today's sessions have gathered over 70 leading individuals, including VC managing partners, senior executives from leading corporates and companies, ambassadors and diplomats. Special thanks to their excellencies, the ambassador joining us from the embassies of Kazakhstan, Tanzania, and Guatemala, along with representatives from the USA, Canada, Hungary, China, Greece, the Philippines, Switzerland, and of course, Israel. Today, we have a truly global session. Your presence here is not only a statement to the global reach of this initiative, but underscores the immense impact each of you can have today. The 50 startups presenting here today are not just seeking opportunities. They are offering you the chance to be part of their journey, where you can be providing valuable sources of funding, potential client connections, and opportunities for advice and mentorship. So to kick off things, we invited today 3 esteemed leaders who play a significant role in the Israeli ecosystem, representing different angles of how our ecosystem has joined forces to overcome these challenging times. First up, please welcome Chemi Perez, chairman of the Paris Center and managing partner of Pitango VC, to share a few words. Chemi, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Lital, and it's fantastic to see everyone on so many little screens. Thank you for joining us. Let me start by thanking first, I would like to thank the Paris Center for Peace and Innovation team for organizing this special ImpACT 365 around resiliency. And I would like to thank, of course, Lital and the rest of the team that has been focusing on this. To mention Tamar Nitzan, Einav Rachum, alongside Lital. I also want to thank the Israel Innovation Authority CEO, Dror Brin, who is going to speak right after me, I think, for a very long partnership with the center, and specifically for this session. We have a wonderful guest today also that will be speaking, an inspirational individual and a good friend, Izar Shai, who came up with an amazing initiative called Next October, which fills me with inspiration and optimism about the future. And before we continue, what I would like to do, let me just finish maybe the thanks also to the initiatives of Iron Nation, Safe Dom VC, the Hamal VC of Wartime CEOs. Before we start, we are in the midst of really difficult times. And what I wanted to do is, with your permission, take 1 minute silence in the memories of our heroes. Among them is the wonderful son of Izar, who sacrificed their lives for Israel's security and for its defense, and for all those who have been killed and abducted. May they come back soon home, and those who are recovering from their wounds. With your permission, 1 minute to respect their memory and to pray for their fast recovery for those who are wounded. Thank you so much for joining us in this commemoration and this session, which is very unique and very moving for me, especially. I want to say a few words about the Israeli economy and the Israeli high-tech sector, specifically at these times. I think one of the nice slogans that was adopted across the innovation ecosystem is that Israel technology delivers no matter what. That is the spirit, and we stick to that. And to be honest, I can say that through the years, through different operations and troubling times like this one, of course, is maybe one of the harshest ones that we encountered. We never lose sight on business continuity, on the fact that we need to serve our customers and our partners to deliver on our products and services around the world. This time is a little bit different and a little bit special, because what we have experienced in October 7 is a combination of a pogrom against Jews, but not only Jews, which is very Jewish. We also experienced a surprise attack like in 1973, which is another failure that we went through exactly 50 years before that, which is very Israeli, unfortunately. But we also experienced a major terrorism attack like September 11, which is becoming a global threat and a global event. And all those three came together. I'm sure that we will rise from this situation much stronger, much safer. And we're going to hear today about how the civil society has been responding alongside the government to this situation in so many different ways, not only in the high-tech sector, but in all walks of life. But maybe a few data points before we continue. The last decade was really unprecedented for the Israeli technology ecosystem. The ecosystem raised until 2021, in 10 years, close to $100 billion. And within those 10 years, we doubled our output in terms of the Israeli innovation ecosystem and became about 20% of the Israeli GDP, which is now $56,000 per capita, which is quite outstanding. Over $500 billion in total GDP, which is very strong, like many really strong European countries. We doubled the output in terms of export, and today the high-tech sector is representing 50% of the Israeli technology sector, and we contribute about a third of the tax payments. So we're really driving the economy. And the fact that our sector is global, it's operating on a global basis, we can continue with business continuity, which is almost flawless. We discovered solidarity among the employees in Israel when 10 to 15% went to military service. And on a global basis, the percentage is 5 to 7%. Now it's much more lower. But we discovered that we get a lot of solidarity from different partners, investors, and customers around the world, but also employees in our companies. Nevertheless, given the fact that the world is going through increased interest rate, the appetite to invest in technology and innovation in alternative assets has been lowered dramatically. And Israel has been suffering from that, just like the US and other places around the world. We're back to a level of investment of 2019 and 2020, which is not so bad, by the way. And I believe that next year, the world will start recovering and coming back to growth when interest rates will fall and capital will be shifted from liquid assets to non-liquid growing assets. But until that time, we need solidarity and a bridge, especially for early stage companies who find it very hard to raise capital, and especially for those who missed the opportunity to raise capital before we went into these events. So thanks to the participants here, the mentors, the initiatives that came out, and the Israeli government and the global community, we're going to cross this bridge safely, and we're going to rise stronger, safer, and more prosperous than ever before. With that optimist note, I want to thank all of you for taking part in this, and I will hand it over to Dror to talk about the Israeli Innovation Authority. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sammy. Yes, Dror, the stage is now. I wanted to give you the full introduction, but go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Chemi, for your optimistic opening remarks. I share the same optimism with you. And I also believe that Israeli tech and Israel as a whole will rise stronger after this crisis, like we did in every previous cycle of downturn, whether it was because of security or economy slowdown. I would like to share with you a few slides that I prepared for this event. First of all, for those of you from abroad who are not familiar with the Israeli Innovation Authority, we are the government agency who is responsible for both the direct investments in the ecosystem as well as for developing policies and removing growth barriers with regards to the Israeli tech ecosystem to make sure it continues to flourish and grow also into the next decades. We invest directly about $500 million every year into the ecosystem, either into disruptive startups and disruptive innovation, or into building the infrastructure of the next emerging technologies. So this is us. Chemi already mentioned a few figures about the Israeli high tech and its contribution to the Israeli economy. I want to repeat some of them and add to those a few more. First of all, Israel invests something like 6.1% of its GDP in R&D. This is by far the highest number in the world, and this is the case already for a few decades. And this is part of the reasons why Israeli tech is leading in so many dimensions. About 12%, this is the highest number in the world of Israeli workforce works in the tech sector, producing almost half of the Israeli export and 18% of the Israeli GDP. Just as a benchmark, in the US, it's 8 to 9% of GDP. In the EU, it's 5 to 6% of GDP. So this is very unique. On top of that, or on top of the fact that Israeli tech is such a contributor to the overall Israeli economy, Israeli tech is also a very significant contributor to the global tech ecosystem. When we compare ourselves to countries in our size or to metropolitan areas in our size, we are ranked number 3 in terms of high-tech companies which operate in Israel. We are number 3, and the first one is the Silicon Valley, the second one is the New York metropolitan area, and just after that comes Israel. When you compare this to our size as a whole, this is quite astonishing. 400 multinationals which operate here in the local ecosystem. All the big brands of the multinational companies are here because they understand the advantages of taking part in the local ecosystem. And obviously the question arises, what about wartime? Chemi already mentioned the slogan, Israeli tech delivers no matter what, and this is indeed the case. I can tell you after speaking myself and also my team with hundreds of entrepreneurs and CEOs and investors, all of them understand and all of them are very focused on delivering on their R&D commitments, on their commitments to customers. They understand that despite the sympathy that everyone in the tech community, global tech community shares with Israel, still they need to see deliveries, they need to see results. And this is where we are all focused on. Obviously, the wartime created many challenges for different segments of the ecosystem. One of the major challenges is with early stage companies that were in the middle of a fundraising round. and the war broke, and they found themselves unable to continue this round. This is, if you will, one of the main assets of Startup Nation, the early stage startups, which will in the future become the next wave of growth and innovation coming out of Israel. And this is why we, the government and the Innovation Authority, declared very quickly after the war broke a new fund of $100 million to extend Israeli startups' runway. All these funds are going to go to early stage companies with short runway, less than 6 months, that already have accumulated disruptive technological and business assets, and are in the product development phase or early sales phase. So we are estimating few hundreds of startups in this situation. And this is one of the measures that we are taking in order to protect this asset of Startup Nation. I can tell you that the Israeli Innovation Authority and the Israeli government are determined to take any measure which is required to make sure that the high-tech is really going to get through this war and rise stronger after it. Those funds that we are going to invest in the startups require matching from the private sector, and this is a great opportunity for investors from Israel and from abroad to invest in those amazing companies. We are going to be very selective. We are not going to give money to companies that should go under. We are going to preserve only those that really can change the world. And just in coincidence, just 2 weeks ago, Time Magazine published a list of the 200 extraordinary innovation changing our lives. 9 out of them are Israeli. Just think about it. Calculate the size of the population of Israel, and just think that 4.5% of those innovation are Israeli companies. And in those companies that we are going to invest in, I can promise you there are many such pearls and gems. So if you want to support Israel in these difficult times, or if you want to get your hands on great business opportunities, this is a good time to do so. This evening today is an opportunity to see great startups looking for funding. I'm sure that also it will lead to deals, and beyond this evening, there are many good startups that are looking for funds, and I hope that and wish all of them to find the right investors and the right opportunities. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Dor, for your insightful presentation. This is also a good opportunity to thank the amazing team in the Israeli Innovation Authority who did not hesitate to join forces with us and to help make today a reality. So a great and big thank you to Tzachi Shenrach, Michal Peled-Reisfeld, Dana Gurevich, Noah Shabtai Weitzer, and Sagi Dagan. As you can understand, a lot of people made sure that today is going to be a success. And now I want to invite our next speaker, Izal Shai, a former Minister of Science and Technology and the founder of Next October, a truly inspiring initiative showing us all how Israeli resilience, optimism, and entrepreneurship can help overcome these dark days. So Izal, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Lital. Thank you, Semi, and thank you, the Paris Center, for organizing this very impressive event. Thank you all participants. This is indeed an indication of optimism and resilience. Next October, our son, Yaron, fell in a heroic combat situation. The battle of a few tens of Israeli soldiers protected the lives of hundreds of civilians and non-combat soldiers and female soldiers in an army base called Kerem Shalom, and in the kibbutz called Kerem Shalom. For those of you who do not speak Hebrew, Kerem Shalom, ironically enough, means vineyards of peace. Their mission was to keep the peace at that part of the border. They were not able to keep the peace, but they were able to protect the hundreds of civilians that were under their guard. And actually, their heroic activities during that black day of October 7th saved hundreds of people who are today with us and can go about their lives. The kibbutz was kept intact, and the army base as well was not conquered by the Hamas terrorists. When we mourned the falling of our hero son Yaron, we tried to figure out the appropriate way to commemorate his special character and you know, our memories of his 21 plus years with us. And then we came up with the idea of instead of planting trees, which is a very nice, legitimate, traditional way to commemorate the memories of our loved ones, why not plant a startup company for Yaron? And then why not plant or seed startup companies for each of the fallen soldiers? And then why not seed, plant, create as many startup companies as needed in order to commemorate each and one of the victims of October 7th and the days following that day. And this is how we came about Next October. Next October is really a story of Israeli optimism, resilience, and entrepreneurship. The idea is, first of all, in terms of the term, obviously this October was a very bad one. Next October is already looking much better because of the initiatives we are listening to this evening and many others that we have seen around us in recent weeks. And the one following next October will be even better. And you can also, those of you who identify this blue little bird on the left of the logo means the phoenix. And as a reminder, the phoenix always rises up from the ashes. And this is basically the story of the Israeli high-tech and the Israeli innovation ecosystem. So the idea about Next October is a non-for-profit platform that connects between investors worldwide and startup companies here in Israel or started by Israeli entrepreneurs. Those startup companies, first of all, pretty much following the profile that Dror described over here, have to be good companies, but they also take upon themselves the obligation, the moral obligation to commemorate one victim of October 7th and the October 23 war. That victim could be a murdered baby, a young woman that was tortured and killed in front of her family, a fallen hero soldier, any choice, mutual choice of that startup company and the family of a victim of October 23 would qualify in order to make that commemoration happen. And this will be an ongoing effort for many years to come. The platform itself, Next October, will commit to connect between investors and startup companies to assign the names of victims to those companies that raise their hand and want to commemorate the fallen and the victims, and then track the commemoration activities over the years, suggest community-related activities, and match the abilities of that company as it grows from an early stage startup through a growth phase, through becoming a worldwide dominant player. The activities will accumulate, will grow, and will match the abilities of the company and the special character, the unique character of that fallen soldier, that victim, or its family legacy and preferences. As far as the startups, as I said, we are looking for promising startups that qualify to match the requirements of professional investors who want to create returns for themselves by investing in Israeli innovation. On the other end, when looking at investors, we are emphasizing the fact that we are not seeking donations. There's been a great wave of donations to Israel around the world, especially from the US, which is fine, very important and highly appreciated. We are not looking for donations. We are looking and we are encouraging investors to invest in promising Israeli innovative companies in order to get this going. We do have a steering committee. Two of our esteemed members are here, at least two of them are here on this call. So thank you very much, Dror, for raising your hand, and Kemi for raising your hand as well. The two of you mean a lot to us at Next October. Your presence, your profile, and your endorsement, pretty much as everybody else's. And as I say this time and time again, everybody who raises their hand and say, we are in our company, our venture capital firm, our law firm, our accounting firm, anybody who raises their hand from our perspective becomes part of this notion and part of a very large steering committee. As you may appreciate from this slide, We launched this initiative formally on an international basis last week in London. Our target was to have about 100 endorsements from various parts of the Israeli ecosystem. We were privileged to accumulate more than 250 endorsements already by Thursday, and they keep accumulating. And my hope from this conversation today is that we will have many more of you raising their hand and say, yes, we are interested. We are a good company. We are a promising Israeli innovative startup. We are going to change the world with our product, with our service, with the experience we are going to create. And yes, we also want to commemorate one of the victims of this attack that was targeted at destroying everything that is so good and we are so proud about here in Israel. This is an example of a startup company that has decided to commemorate our hero, son Yaron. The name is Perry. There are 12 people, small startups, starting their way. They qualify to what we call early stage, promising, innovative startup. And this is what they can afford today. They printed Yaron's picture on a wooden tablet. They wrote a few beautiful words about him. They have a candlelit on his name. And they have all kinds of small activities that match the profile of a small startup. I'm confident that when Perry grows, they will be able to commemorate Yaron in many other creative ways. Yaron had a very passionate love for sports and for music. So any activity that will involve the education of kids around music or sports will be something very special to our hearts as his family, and will commemorate his memory in a proper way. And that's an example of a match. There could be many other examples that would match family profiles, victims profiles, and the soldiers as well. This is probably the most important slide in my short presentation here. Please, those of you who want to volunteer as mentors, as helpers, as companies who want to endorse the fallen, the victims, anybody that you may have known or people that you have not gotten to know, but we will connect you to, please write to us, info@nextoctober.org. We want to increase the chances of startup companies to succeed. And we are going to do this by matching mentors with companies, by applying all kinds of enhancement programs for product managers, for CFOs, for CEOs, for anybody who is involved with the creation of an innovative Israeli company. And obviously, we are going to commemorate the victims of the fallen. They deserve to be remembered, and they deserve that we all carry their names forward. I want to emphasize the 3 foundations of Next October just before I finish my little talk over here. So the first one is the economic perspective. We have to get the high tech going. We have to get our ecosystem to regenerate across the board. This military conflict is costing us about 1 billion shekels per day, and we are counting already 70 plus days into this, and many more days to come. To the people around this call, I can say there is nobody else but us. We are the people that can make this happen in terms of reviving, regenerating the Israeli economy. This is our task. The Israeli economy relies on us, and so many people are looking at us. You saw Drew's excellent presentation. You saw our role within the Israeli high tech and the Israeli economy. We have to make it happen. There is nobody else to do it. So that's reasoning number 1 for next October. Reason number 2 is, as I said, commemorating the victims and the fallen soldiers. They will become a symbol. The 13, or God forbid, maybe 1,400 people that we lost during October and the following weeks deserve to be remembered, deserve to become a symbol of what happened to us and how we reacted and responded, and remember resilience, optimism, and entrepreneurship. And then the third foundation is, this is our message to the world. They came to destroy us. By the way, they came to destroy us as a first step towards destroying the Western world values, the Western world basic principles of living in freedom and peace and having the right to go about your life happily and in freedom. This was the target, and they came to distract, to murder, to kill, to commit all those atrocious acts, which they did somehow successfully. We are here to respond, and the appropriate Israeli, Jewish, Zionist, high-tech responses, generating innovation. Where they came to destroy, we are generating 1,400 products, services, experiences that will be distributed around the world and will provide for a better world, will help the world become better with each product, with each service, with each and one of those companies that are going to be part of next October. With that, thank you very much again for listening to my talk here, and those of you who already wrote to info@october.org, thank you. We appreciate very much your volunteering to this. We hope that this becomes a whole ecosystem initiative. The Paris Center has endorsed us, and we have the world's most appreciation for the Paris Center for partnering with us, and we're looking for the Israeli ecosystem to raise their hand and say, next October will be better, and we are all going to contribute to a better world. Thank you.
Wow, amazing, Zal. Thank you so much. It was such an inspiring talk, and I just, we just need to pray that what you're working on will become a reality, and next October will be much brighter for all of us, and we'll manage to achieve the goal that you just set here on this stage. And of course, we are all, see it in the same eye and partners to that initiative. So thank you for that. And thank you again, Chemi Peres and Dror Bin, for your valuable perspectives. And now I want to acknowledge the partners who have joined forces with us to make Resilience ImpACT 365 a reality. I want to say a huge thank you to Iron Nation, Safe Dome VC, and Hamal VC for wartime CEOs. Together with the Israel Innovation Authority that you heard from Dror, all of our partners have played a pivotal role in meticulously selecting the startups you will hear from today. Each of these ventures has undergone an internal vetting process, ensuring that only the most promising and impactful startups are going to be presented to you. So in order for you not having to take just my word for it, I've invited them to join us here today and present their amazing initiatives, all aimed at helping startups affected by the war. I do want to say that we are a bit behind of time, so I hope that we'll manage to do it kind of quickly, but I do, it's very, very important for me that you will hear from them. So first, I would like to invite the co-founder of Hamal VC for wartime CEOs to present their venture, Dr. Yael Grunbaum, venture partner and head of Amun Alpha Amun Fund. Yael, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's hard to speak after Izhar, and I wrote you, Izhar, that I promise we will do all we can to remember Yaron and the many others that were left behind to save us as a nation. And thank you, Chemi, for the very inspiring words, and for Dror for leading and for stepping very quickly on your feet as a representation of what this nation should be. And thank you to the Paris Center for what you've been doing since October 7th. We are truly, truly inspired by your team, by your mission. And as someone who personally met President Peres as a youth, he left me with hope. And this meeting is actually leaving me with hope as well. I am actually going to share only 2 slides with all of us and share with you our why and our how. And they're very simple. On October 7th, while people were massacred, murdered, and raped in Israel, we were all transformed in our minds to understand that this is not a place to work alone. And that if we don't hold hands together, every single person in our nation, every single one of us, no matter where they're from, and no matter how they can do it, we have to work together. And saying that and working together, what we have done is joined forces, 3 of the funds in Israel, NFX, Amun, and Lionbird. Gal from Lionbird called me one day and said, Yael, we cannot leave the CEOs alone. And I told her the same thing. We are both from big funds, as is Chemi. We have a very strong backing for these CEOs, but most of the companies in Israel do not have a VC to back them at this moment. So what do? What do those companies do today? They have many initiatives. You're seeing 3 today, but there are actually more than 100 initiatives that came up from the amazing people of Israel that want to help these CEOs. They're alone, they're sad, they're worried. Some of them are in reserve duties. Some of them have over 20 to 50% of their companies in reserve duty. So our why is Israel. And now we have to be the best we can, and we are. And I think Dror showed it better than me in numbers. And the how is making sure that every single one of the Israeli ecosystem and the Israeli village, 25 funds and 60 investors from these funds are part of this journey. And what we try to do, what we aim to do is triage. It's a basic a medical term that says that if there are 100 initiatives, we can turn you to each one of them according to what they are. If you need a global mentor, the Paris Center is here to help with that. If you need a quick funding that will match the Israeli Innovation Authority, we can help you find that. And if you need help understanding and navigating the Israeli Innovation Authority funds, we can help you with that. If you are missing chemists, we can turn you to HR volunteers. And if you're missing anything else, we are just here for you. And I think Gal Neumann, Dr. Gal Neumann, my co-founder from Lionbird, said it best. Just ask me what you need and I will try to help. And the smartest thing we did is we brought Lena. She's here on the call and you're welcome to reach out to her, me, or Gal to make sure that this is working systematically. We have over 250 companies that have approached us and have received ours from VC executives. And just to say again and conclude, Israel was, is, and will be the best startup nation there is. And everyone here has to work together to make sure that it happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Amazing, Gail. And thank you again, Gal and Lena, for your amazing contribution. You helped us a lot for today. Now I want to invite Gil Friedlander, co-founder of Iron Nation, to tell us more about their activity.
Thank you, Lital. So the war created some challenging or some very innovative vehicles to support the ecosystem and the startups. One of them is Iron Nation. Iron Nation is a standard LP/GP fund, but that everyone that comes about is volunteering and contributing their time. This is actually an industry-wide joint effort where we're having a best talent and people from VCs supporting us with due diligence, with our investment committee, with mentoring. The legal work, the auditing work is all provided on a pro bono basis. And we're coming together to raise funds and invest them in startups. We set a pretty conservative goal of $20 million to raise to the fund, where we will invest in 30 startups in seed and round A stages, an average check of $750,000 per company. These are viable companies. These are companies that were viable October 6th, and we believe are still viable October 7th, as the risk factor in Israel has increased. Often foreign investors are pulled out, and Iron Nation is coming to support these startups. I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, but there's a good product market fit here. We have over 630 companies that applied for us. Some of them are going to be presenting themselves here today. A lot of the team that is working around us is here today. So Chemi Perez, Yael, and many others. We're working very closely with the Israeli Innovation Authority, which is actually providing the matching. So the same $100 million fund that Dror mentioned is something that we will raise and seek matching a dollar for a dollar for the investments that we bring into these companies. From an investor perspective, I would say there's 4 points that are very interesting in Iron Nation. First, as this is all voluntary, we do not take any fee or carry on this fund. which means that 100% of whatever the LPs invest in the fund goes to the company, and 100% of the liquidation events, of the exits and the IPOs go back to our LPs. As I said, there's non-dilutive matching that is coming from the Israeli Innovation Authority. We have probably some of the best professionals in Israel supporting us with due diligence and investment committee. So really professional, very experienced people with great track records supporting us with decision-making. And last but not least, we have great startups. And at the end of the day, Iron Nation will be investing in best-in-class companies. And altogether, this should provide a very nice return to our LPs. I will keep my time frame today. So thanks, Lital, for the opportunity.
Amazing, amazing, Gil. You made it great. And I also want to take that opportunity to thank your team members, Jason, Wolf, your co-founder, and Mr. Ilan Tevet for all of their support and assistance to make today a reality. The last speaker for this part will be Ram Yonish, a Safe Dome VC partner. So Ram, join us please to present your venture.
Thank you, Lital, and the entire team. Before I start, I visited last night in a very interesting exhibition in Expo Tel Aviv about the Nova Festival. And I really want to very strongly ask you all to visit that place. It's super impressive to see what happened there and to remember what really happened in this festival. Around 350 people died in this peace festival. Young children, boys and girls, and around 50 people are kidnapped. So I'll start with that and jump into our presentation, which will be quite quick, but let me do that using the presentation. Yeah, sorry for all of that.
So we do have 2 minutes. I see you have 9 slides, so I give you
no worries. Thank you. So our mission is to help early stage tech startups, and just because we're after Iron Nation, I'll say almost as Iron Nation, as Gil described, Safe Dome is looking at the earlier stage startups. So companies that are really in the early seed, pre-seed stage. As Iron Nation, we are a pro bono vehicle, so we take no carry, no management fee. We have a lot of partners, among them A200 Alumni Association, KPMG, Shibboleth, and others. But what we try to do also is, beside of deploying money, is to help these companies with applying to the Israel Innovation Fast Track, advisory, and introduction, which I will show you in the next slides or two. We are currently, the life cycle would be, we are closing our first fund very soon and hopefully get another fund within 2 months ahead. And what we're looking for the investors in this team, what we're looking for is to invest in a safe model and convert to equity within a year or two. And then most of our portfolio will go into kind of a passive management with pro rata rights being, look at case by case. Application criteria for raising money is
I can hear you. Is it just me?
I cannot hear as well.
No, it was muted.
We lost you.
nobody can hear.
We
cannot hear you.
Yeah, it's because of your long presentation. It's a sign from the back.
I will continue around until we can hear him again. Hi, I'm Ilan. I'm his co-founder.
Oh my God! I'll take last minute.
Try to summarize.
Yeah, last minute. So we're in the last phase of interviewing companies. And last slide, we had around 1,000 applications. We met around 95% of them. We already reviewed, so we have few we didn't review yet. We're gonna invest in around 10 to 15 in the first batch, and hopefully another 10 to 15 in the next batch. And I think I've seen a lot of faces in here. We have around 14 companies, I believe, in this today event, companies that we reviewed, and some of them we will invest, some of them maybe next time. But it's important for us, as I said, to help them not just with deploying money, but also making relevant introductions. And we are still open for funds. So if we have investors want to look at SafeDome, we'll be happy to meet you. You have the email there, and you can scan the code. And thank you very much for the time.
Okay, amazing. Thank you, Am, and thank you also to your partner, Hila. Hila Haddad-Khmelnik, former Director General of the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, and SafeDome VC co-founder that we just saw that came to your help. Now, again, thank you all of our partners. Let's, without further ado, let's dive into the heart of this session today. In the next phase, resembling the Shark Tank format, 5 to 6 startups will have the opportunity to present in breakout rooms in front of you, sharks, aligned with the vertical of activity. Following each presentation, there will be a brief Q&A session. After today's session, all of our sharks will receive the startups' one-pagers and contact information, ensuring a seamless continuation of engagement with the startup of their choice for impactful resorts. Once again, I want to thank you for being part of the Resilience ImpACT365. The Israeli high-tech sector stands as one of the strongest globally, and it is our collective responsibility to ensure its resilience during these challenging times. We here at the Paris Center are proud to open doors for sharp Israeli minds, believing that Israeli tech delivers no matter what, as you heard constantly this session. Let's make the most of this unique platform, connecting and supporting one another in the spirit of resilience and innovation.